So part two of 2 in reference to what I was discussing for part 1 of the multiple topics. So after that whole thing at the funeral for my dead ex-husband, I went to speak with, I had made a promise to Grandpa Nichols and Tony specifically. I did make a similar promise, but not the exact same, to Grandma Nichols, Susie Marie Nichols, and Mary Evangelina Nichols. Here is the thing, though. When it came to Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen, I told her, when she told me she knew someone in Congress and knew someone in Senate in Georgia. First, I'll admit, I didn't know necessarily what Congress meant. I will acknowledge it wasn't until after my Medal of Honor art project that made sense. Second, I told her not to. I told her I would handle it. I told her I would take care of things because I would go up the chain of command. And she told me, well, you're just trying to steal all the attention, aren't you? No, it's not that at all. Realistically, you do not have the ability to do what I do. That's just, oh, you're just being selfish. No, I'm not. You do not have a blue ID card. She goes, so what? And irony, I didn't realize she was the one who stole my blue ID card. But anyway, you do not have the ability to correctly use that. You do not have the background to use that. If you go and attempt to do anything, I'm warning you, you are going to mess up David's career. So don't do it. If you go and contact anybody, number 1, you better tell them the truth. Number 2, and when I said that before I could finish that one, she goes, what do you mean? And I said, because you don't understand. We are at war right now. Your brother died now, but your brother died during the Iraq and Afghanistan war. We are at war. Do not, I repeat, do not go against what I tell you, because if you do, David's career will suffer because of you, and you will have to look at yourself in the mirror and know it is your fault. 100%. If anything goes wrong, if he winds up missing out on a promotion, your fault, Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen. If he winds up being demoted, your fault, Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen. If he winds up missing out on retirement, that is your fault, Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen. So I am recommending with every bit of me, do not contact anybody. I will contact you when I get it taken care of. I will let you know, and if I do not let you know, it will be your sister, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, to inform you. Otherwise, do not do it. Do I make myself clear? I'm the oldest sister. I don't care who you are. I'm married to someone in the Air Force. Is that the Army? No, but is that the Army? No, but is that the Army? Yes or no? No. Okay. So, but there are people who are in the Army who know people in the Air Force. Whatever. No. Not whatever. marry Evangelina Nichols. No. Do not get anybody involved that does not need to be involved. I will handle it because I know what to do. You don't know what to do. You had a head injury. That doesn't mean I don't comprehend what the situation is. You don't even understand the slightest bit of things. You were disrespectful to the Chief Warrant Officer 3. You don't even know who the funeral director actually is. So the fact that you don't know any of that means you have no place to get involved. You stick your nose into business that is not your business. I'm going to tell you a New Jersey saying. She goes, what? I'm from Fort Worth. No, you're from Fort Polk, Louisiana. You are not from Fort Worth. You lived in Fort Worth and then you moved to Georgia after you got knocked up with Sandra Marie. So, no, or Sandra Marie Osteen, even though her last name should have been whatever, but whole other story on that. And so I said, don't. And let me tell you my saying, because you may have lived in Fort Worth. I've walked around in Fort Worth and I haven't had any problems. Would you be willing to walk outside of your mom and dad's property? No. Okay, I have. I walked the block, went around several times, walked the literal block, walked all the way down to the train tracks, and walked back. No problem. Just because you lived in Fort Worth doesn't mean you're hard. So let me tell you a saying from New Jersey. Would. All right. Let me tell you a saying from New Jersey. And we were outside, so I was smoking. In New Jersey, if you stick your nose over the fence into somebody else's business, you're liable to get your nose broken, and it's going to be your fault. Do you understand what that means? No, I'm not willing to explain it to you, but I'm going to give you this warning. You wind up not listening to me and heeding my warning right now, that New Jersey saying is going to make a lot of sense to you. And by that point, you're going to have 2 black eyes from that broken nose. It's going to be way too late. Heed my warning. You don't know. Run your mouth. I'm letting you know. Your words mean nothing to me. I am giving you this warning, not just for your safety, but for your husband's career. Understand that. It's a big warning. Pay attention. Whatever. I'm going to handle it. Trust me. I'm going to handle it. If you don't choose to trust that I can handle it, then there's no hope for you. I promise you that. I tend to keep my promises. I made a promise to your dad. I made a promise to your brother, Tony, the one that's alive. Whatever. No. That's important. If I make a promise, we'll keep it. Do everything I can. If I fail, I will point out everywhere I fail. But I will not make a promise that I know I cannot keep, because that will be a lie. I cannot lie. So, you don't know me. That's no doubt on that. Trust me, though. Because if you don't trust me, you're going to wind up understanding and comprehending that statement from New Jersey. Promise. Big promise. Whatever, I'm going to go. I'm warning you, don't. Whatever. So, whoever she wound up annoying in Georgia, I tried to warn her. So, I told Grandpa Nichols and I told Tony, as well as Grandma Nichols, but more so the other two. I will find out what the meaning is in reference to why he got the Bronze Star. If it should be. I am making a promise to my children that they don't understand right now, but I am making a promise, I already have technically, to make sure my son and daughter get the memorial service that they were supposed to get. And then, whatever the reasons were, that there was that much rank, I will do what I can to get the answers for that for you. Promise. Grandpa Nichols was like, I know you will, and did it. No problem. Tony? No problem, I know. All right. So I get back to San Antonio. On my way back, I receive a phone call saying, can you show up to the military police station on Monday? Sure. I had to go to Fort Sam Houston anyway. Not a problem. Although I think the military police officer probably thought I meant an appointment. Irony of ironies, I did have an appointment. Apparently it was with CID, which is the Criminal Investigation Division. I just didn't know I had an appointment with them. Nonetheless, I show up to the military police station and I'm just like, hey, I'm here. And they're like, yeah, can we see your ID? Yeah, no problem, here you go. Just sit out right there. Oh, okay, sure. Right here? Yeah, right there. Alright. What's going on? Oh, well, we're in this. We're gonna call and let them know you're here. Ooh. Ooh. Who you gonna call? A military police guy, picks up the phone. Yeah, she's here. And I was like, well, that kind of sounded a little, and then, car pulls up, guy walks in, and, because it's a military base, shows up in military gear. It's like, Susan! And it's like, yes, that's me. What's going on? He's like, well, we have to go to a different building. And I'm like, okay. Got in the car. For those who know Fort Sam, Houston, it's not a long drive. What are we doing here? What's going on? What are we doing? And the guy's like, in the building we'll talk. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's how this is gonna go? Alright. Alright. Not gonna be rude, but this is how this is gonna go. Okay. Alright. You got questions for me? I got questions for you. Probably ironically, at the same time, we were both thinking, little do you know. In different ways. So I get in the questioning room, interrogation room, and I sit out and they start asking me questions. When was the last time you saw him? 2 days before his death. I was in my house and I hadn't spoken with him in 2 days. Told him the schedule, ex-husband at that time, when he was alive. And so he stayed on post, did his appointment stuff. And then, on Friday, I'd pick him up. He'd be at the house until Sunday, drop him off. So that way there was time with, my son James and my daughter Lydia. Well, you know this, that, okay. And then a bunch of, well, what about this? What about the medications? I don't know. I'm not his doctor. Not trying to be rude, but I'm not his doctor. I didn't prescribe him his medications. Do you want to tell me why my children didn't get a memorial service to see their, father's like unit, like that whole thing? What about this? Well, okay, we're going to. And so several. So at first it was like a set of 2 guys. And then like about an hour goes by. The guy got mad and he's like, I will be right back. Okay. I'm just gonna sit here. Can I have a cigarette? No! Oh, okay. How long is it gonna take? I'm still waiting to understand, like, what happened. Certain things. You want to tell me why he got a Bronze Star and he was denied a Purple Heart? And when I said that, she had... What? Like, yeah. I mean, if you gotta go and, switch out, you go switch out, and then, I'll ask my question. And so then... It's like, all right. I'll be right here at the interrogation room or question room, whatever. That's fine. I'll be right here. Can't miss me. At that time, I did not have these. I only had that and that. And then the blue one, and then the one you can't see under here because it's, bright golden yellow and it's fluorescent. Be right here. You will not miss me. I'm right here. So then he leaves, and the other guy, and they got, more guys come in, and like, yes. And they ask like the same question, like a bunch of times. Where were you the last time you saw him? In 2 days. From the time that ABCD. You know what? Can you tell me this? Can you tell me this? Can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? We're gonna. We're gonna go get. Oh, okay, you're gonna go switch some out. Okay, I'll be right here. Not going anywhere. I'm gonna be right here. Because you're gonna lock the door anyway. But I'm gonna be right here. Not going anywhere. Why are you laughing? Because I'm at CID, so I'm in an interrogation room, you got a door, and you have to use a chippy thing or whatever. I cannot go anywhere, so I'm like, go be right here. I'm not making a joke, I'm telling the truth. Like, I'm not gonna go anywhere. And if I even attempted to, I'm not gonna camo. Be right here. You won't be able to miss me. Right here. And one of the guys, he goes, well, yes, you will. Yup. I don't know if you were trying to scare me. But yes, I will. Be right here. Another group of guys come in, say, okay, so, what about this? What about this? What about this? How long is it going to take for my children to get, like, his stuff? Since you brought up the medication thing, like, what do I have to do with that? Because, like, he had a lot of medications, and I don't want to, like, have any issues with that because, like, just saying, because they kept asking about his medications, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you about. I didn't, like, prescribe them, but, like, I want to know about what I'm supposed to do with them. Like, because, like, now I will say that if they had asked if anybody else had been around, I would have told them. Cactus Jack. Also also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr. So if his fingerprints are on the bottles, well, I don't know why they'd be on them, because they shouldn't be, obviously. So, you know, but, so, at some point, I think it was like hour 3, maybe 3.5, in walks the funeral director that was supposed to be at the funeral. He's like, "What's going on here?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm being asked a bunch of questions. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm being asked questions, but I got questions too. Like, why were you not at the funeral?" And he was like, "Well, I was direct ordered not to be." Yeah, I kind of figured that out. Not to be rude, just, you know, there's a Chief Warrant Officer 3 there. Did you know there was going to be a Chief Warrant Officer 3 there? What? Yeah, there was a Chief Warrant Officer 3 there. And then, like, a whole bunch of, like, really, really high-ranking guys. You want to tell me why? I'm just saying, you know, you're, like, in E7. Well, I just graduated to an E8. Well, congratulations, you graduated to an E8. If you were an E8, apparently you would have been able to be at the funeral because there was nobody below an E8 at the funeral. What? Yeah, nobody below an E8. So maybe if you had graduated, like, sooner, not to be mean, just, you know, if you graduated sooner and you were an E8, maybe you could have been there. But there was nobody below an E8 there, and there were a whole bunch of those, whole bunch of chevrons and rockers, and then stars and wreaths. I'm just throwing that out. And so, you know, there was a few of those guys, and then there were stars. What do you mean stars? Like, stars, generals. Not 4 stars, just like, I mean, technically there were a total of 4 stars, but there were 2 different 2 stars. What? Two different 2-star generals. You're kidding. No, I would not kid about that. Why? I don't know. Oh, okay. Then in comes the other CID agent guys. And this time, they had the big Gerard guy, and the one that was like, you know, have a seat. It's like, oh, okay. All right. And so, he was a captain, that guy. And he was like, "Rawr, rawr, 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 you will tell me." Tell you what, I told the other guys the same thing. I'm not going to go. I don't know what you expect me to say. Told you the truth. I don't know if you're not used to that or if you are, but, like, I cannot tell a lie, so I'm telling you the truth. And so, like, then the guy was like, "Well, you know what? I've got something to show you." Okay. What? Pictures. Okay. What pictures? Where are they at? What type of pictures? And then I wound up getting to see the slideshow of my now dead ex-husband, like the way his body was, and like where he was laying and where the blood pooled. You could see that in the picture, like what is it? Not a contusion, but it might be the word, but whatever it is, like there was, you know, where the lamp was, and on the nightstand, you know, light color wood and whatever, and, you know, okay, I don't know what to tell you. Probably pissed off a lot of people other than me. And the E8 at that point, he was like, "You can't show her those pictures. Like, you really can't." And I'm just like, "Well, it's no big deal. If you knew where I grew up, these are pictures." Nothing to worry about in comparison. I'm trying to be mean, just, you know, you don't have to worry about that in comparison, because, you flesh. You don't know if they're still nearby. And so these are pictures. Nothing to worry about. Not that I said that in full. It's just one of those. And so the guy, the captain guy, he's like, rah, rah, rah. And I remember he had braces on his teeth. And I'm just like, that's nice. I'm not trying to say it in an Anna sort of way, but thank you. And I actually did say this. I actually said, thank you, Captain. And he goes, what? Thank you. I mean it. Would you like me to explain why? Yes, what do you mean? Oh, okay. I was going to tell you anyway. I appreciate you showing me these pictures so that way I knew he was like actually dead, because like I asked the funeral director as far as my daughter seeing the string, you know, behind his ear, and so I was wondering like what happened during the embalming. Like what happened? Why did the embalming have an issue? Like did the like coroner not sew things up correctly, or were there issues? Like what happened? And he's just like, what word did you just say? Which one? I've said a few. Which what did you say? Which word would you like me to repeat, Captain? Oh my God. At that point, he sits down, and I'm like, okay, what? He's like, oh my God, what? What, Captain? Oh my God, what did you just say? And I'm like, I said, okay, I guess I'll go back as far as I can remember at this point, because all you guys have asked me a whole bunch of questions. So, I asked you about a string behind my dead ex-husband's ear, and I asked if the coroner had issues with the embalming. At that point, the E7 or E8, he just kind of, what did you just say? Do I not speak loud enough? I know I have headaches, so like, I know I can be soft sometimes, bro, the only time I'm going to be. But, you know, like, what, like, did the coroner mess up with the embalming? And they're just like sitting there in silence. The other guy's looking at me, and I'm like, hello, any answers? No answers. Oh, okay. Do I get to ask questions now? At that point, the captain guy, he goes, we're done at this point. I'm, okay. Does that mean I get to have a cigarette now? Really would like a cigarette. Can I have a cigarette now? That'd be great. I know it's bad for you, but I'm not a quitter, so you know. So he's just like, yeah, you're clear, you're good to go. Okay, thanks. By the way, you guys, thank you for your service. You guys have a good one. You stay safe with whatever you're gonna do. I'm terrible at the question. Too. Or the mirror. So from that point, I start going up the chain of command, because I want to know why I was interrogated by CID and questioned, interrogated. Yeah, oh, okay. That like for civilians, like that might sound scary, and some people, yeah, I get it. But you know, at the same time, it's one of those. That's what it was. There's no fluffifying that. I mean, you could try to, but realistically, no. They're not going to send in multiple officers, CID agent guys. They're not going to constantly ask questions. If it just no, not in that situation. And so I was like, all right, you get me. So I started at the Warrior Transition Unit, and then I met with the different guys, and I had different questions. you know, like, why didn't my children have a memorial service that they could attend, and why that was not, like, and then, you know, like, as multiple questions each time, just, and then more, because Warrior Transition Unit used to be Medical Hold Unit. And so as I was going up the chain of command, it's like, well, I remember this, so let me ask about this. I remember this, let me ask about this. I'm going on and on and on, all various different questions. Well, Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., when I tell him I'm going to go to the JAG office, he's like, I want to go. And he, of course, had to wear that stupid 151 t-shirt. And it's like, why? You wore that in the quadrangle. Why would you wear that? Like, I hate you. I don't have patience or time for your bullshit. So fine, whatever. And so go in, and I'm like, okay. Walk in. I'm like, where's Colonel Shoemaker? And the female at the desk, she's like, he's in Washington, D.C. Okay, well, where's the next guy in the chain of command? And he was just, ironically, the colonel of a different name, he comes out and he's like, well, I can speak with you. I'm like, all right, let's go talk. And he's just like, oh, okay. Like, no, we got some issues. Like, you and me, we got some issues that we got to handle, because there's stuff going on that can't be going on. Like, there's been stuff that's been going on since 2000. This is 2008. That stuff that was going on in 2000 was going on before it was, like, I was there. It's going on now. So let's talk. I was like, oh, okay. Civilian? No, well, technically, I'm medically retired from the Army. Here's my blue ID card. And he, okay, oh my God, okay. Sit down. When you sit down, yeah. And so he's on this side, there's a table here, and I'm over here. And I'm just like, so, and and I'm just like, so, why did my children not get a memorial service? And it was changed when I had to be, and it's known that I had to be in Fort Worth to sign for the body. I don't have the end. Okay. Why was I interrogated by CID for multiple hours? I don't have the end. Okay. Why are there females who are being assaulted? Because I was told about a female who had been blown up overseas, had burns. I mean, she didn't get blown up to smithereens, but like she got blown up. She had 3rd-degree burns. She wound up being in the burn unit for over 3 years. And then the first week that she was in medical, it's Warrior Transition Unit, whatever. She was in there for less than a week, ripped out of her wheelchair and assaulted. What was done to make sure she is okay? I can't talk about that with you. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to let you know that I've had issues myself that I personally had to deal with when it was medical hold. And so the fact that that's still going on and in that sort of capacity, I do not find that to be acceptable. And I want you to understand that I may not be able to do whatever for her, but let me let you know I am not happy about that. And I know obviously she is not, but I want to know what you're going to do to make sure, or at least fix that situation so it doesn't happen again as best as possible. She already went through enough. She didn't need that. I technically should not be speaking with you. Well, I still have some more questions that I got, so, you know. And then he tried to make light of the situation. He's like, so, you know, well, you know, what could be worse than, well, you know, my children's biological father is dead, so, you know, there is that they're like partial, you know, but, you know, and he goes, touche. I'm like, so, you know, what about this legal aspect, JAG officer? What about this legal aspect, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, da, da, da. I think I need a notepad. Okay, you go get yourself a notepad. Because these soldiers don't need to be handling that on top of what they dealt with while in medical hold. What about the pill parties that are going on where they trade pills? Or what about the mixing alcohol with their medications? Or what about playing poker and using their pills as chips? What about this? What about the... I don't know. Okay, well they don't need to be dealing with that. They have enough that they deal with. They don't need that additionally. You are lucky enough to be a JAG officer. They had whatever jobs that they have had, and they are in medical hold unit, warrior transition unit, whatever, and they don't need to be dealing with any of that. Additionally, they need to be able to actually recuperate and recover. Well, some of them, I don't care that some of them have people who will help them. That's cool. It's not that I don't care. But what about the ones who don't? What about the ones who actually need that sort of stuff outside of that? Oh my God. Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, well, maybe somebody at oh my God. Oh, I'm gonna go call Colonel Shoemaker right now. You go do it and you go. So then, you know, continue up the chain of command with similar questions and more that develops. And then I wind up in the garrison commander's office, talk with him similarly, and then I get to the general of BAMS. Now when I get there, or SAMC now, when I get there, the secretary, the general is in a meeting. I'll wait. What do you mean you'll wait? I mean, I'll wait. You got a chair right here. I'll wait. And when the general gets out of the meeting, I'll be here. And, okay. I'm just going to read this book. Don't worry. Well, technically it was a magazine. And so, so let's see, how long is it going to take until the buddy guy shows up? And then buddy guy shows up, he's like, hey. Yes. Hello. So what you doing, buddy? Who are you talking to? You! What you do? What you want to see the general for? I do not see stars on your uniform. Yeah, well, you know, you could tell me. I do not see stars on your uniform. Oh, come on. When the general gets here, I'll speak with the general. You are not the general. And so he turns around, and then, you know, I'm like, all right, now it's going to be the big gurr guy. Now it's going to be the big gurr. And so then big Gurrar guy comes over and he goes, yes. You're going to tell me why you're here to see the general. I do not see stars on your uniform. You're going to tell me why you did. I do not see stars on your uniform. So, no, I will not. When the general gets here, I'll speak with him, though. Oh, okay, it's going to be like that. I do not see stars. You're going to tell me, you're going to tell me, you're going to tell me. Do you know what you look like to me? And that guy went, what? You look like a little baby kitty. Like a little baby kitty that could fit in my hands. And I could just, and not in a mean way, just a little kitty. Just a little kitty. Catch you, little brother. And he just, you're supposed to tell me what you're here to see the general for. You're going to tell me why are you here to see the general? You're not the general, so no. When the general gets here, I'll speak with him. Or her, either way. So then he, stomps off. Not being rude, just that's how it happened. And then it's like, all right. He's gonna just get out of his meeting and he's gonna pretend not to see me. And he's gonna go to the secretary and he's gonna be surprised to see me. Mind you, it was a white wall. And then in comes the general, walks right past, doesn't see me. 3, 2, 1. So I understand. Yes, I am here to see you. It's nice to meet you, General. Ready? To your office? Let's go. Oh, okay. And so then I bring up all the different questions and stuff like that. And then by that point, I had a whole bunch more. And the only thing you could say was, well, it's not medical hold. It's warrior transition unit. I don't care what you nickname this unit, General. You can call it whatever, fluffy bunny, rump ranging. I don't care what you want. Yes. I worked with General Shinseki. Yeah, they know they're broken. And not in a bad way. They know what they've gone through. They know what they've dealt with. You don't need to fluffify that. So, you can call it warrior transition unit. It's still medical hold. They're in a holdover unit until they are fixed, or at least until they are repaired, so that way they can go back out into the civilian sector to be able to live and survive. So, while you want to call it whatever you want to call it, I don't care. It's still medical hold to me. Well, you were in medical. I know when I was in medical hold, General. I don't need you to remind me of that. Thank you, though. It doesn't change that. I don't care. What I care about is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So when do you want to have like this big star? Well, I'll see what I can do. Oh, you'll see what you can do? Okay. I have done you a courtesy, General. What do you mean you've done me a courtesy? I have done you a courtesy by going up the chain of command instead of going over your head and letting the shit roll downhill. You're being a royal fucking cunt. And I look at him and I'm like, oh. And you could almost see on his face where it like clicked but not. And I'm just like, oh, really? Well, thank you for noticing. Thanks. Aside from that, thank you. Oh, whoa, what do you mean? Gerald, can you do me a favor? What's that? Remember your uniform. You see those stars? Yes. You're an officer, right? I am medically retired from the Army. I'm technically a widow, right? Oh my God, yes. This is your office, right, General? Your age right there. All right. It's a military post, right? Oh my God. Civilian clothes, technically. Yes. But don't be upset because I'm actually thanking you because it's going to be really difficult for anybody to call me a name that is not at minimum a 3-star and above. Thanks. I mean, it was already difficult to call me a name. But, you're a 2-star general. You should be like, but, yeah. Thanks. That's cool. I've been called a lot of names. But not by someone your rank. So thank you. But they're going to actually have to mean it and be right. And I know that you're only saying that because you know I'm right and you're angry. And that's okay. Because I know you're also frustrated at the fact you don't understand why so much is clusterfucked. So, there you go. Remember, I only wanted to make sure A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but since, all this other stuff, it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, P, and so on and so forth. So, thanks. Well, that point, that would be when I contacted the Senate, Senator Cornyn, apologized to the other areas of government, didn't realize. And then the White House, at that time, it was President George W. Bush, and then somebody had made the mention of the local news. Okay. And then my children had the memorial service. And then the general gives the speech. It was in the chapel inside of SAMC now, but it was BAMC then. And, he gives the speech, does the whole thing, and I'm like, all right. And then the general says, so if anybody wants to say anything, the podium is open. And then he walks away to where the news reporter guy is, and I walk up to the stage and I'm like, so, thank you guys for showing up. I apologize for the fact that you have to deal with this again, but thank you, General, I think it was Gilman, for everything that has made this occur so that way my children were initially denied their ability to have this the day of. So I explained the whole thing is in brief, and I was like, so thank you guys. I wasn't trying to like rub salt in your wounds, but you know, as I went up the chain of command because of initially this, and then you know the Bronze Star issue and that, you know, wanted to make sure they were squared away. I'm sure you understand. And so I went down, and they were just kind of, oh my gosh, she's okay. And so I was like, but you guys, you know, you guys take care of yourselves. I really appreciate this. Like it means a lot to me for them. And so, like, you guys, you know, make sure you take care of yourselves. Do what you can. I hope it gets better, this, that, and the other, so on and so forth. Well, I thought that was the end of that. And then a few weeks go by, and I receive an email from General Gilman telling me that the guys from Iraq, the colonel over there, are going to arrive sometime in May. Would I like to meet with them? Absolutely. Absolutely. After everything that's gone on, absolutely. So, show up to the general's office the day of the appointment that the general made, or his staff, whatever, and walk in and sit down. Yeah, and sit down and wait. Hurry up and wait. Show up early, but yeah, oh, okay, they're in the office, but you know, okay, yeah, I gotta wait. Oh, okay, now you're ready for me. Cool. Okay, awesome. Thank you. This is Colonel. So nice to meet you, Colonel. Oh, these are. Thank you, General Gilman, for your office. I really appreciate it. Thank you for setting up the meeting. What? Thank you for setting up the meeting. Yeah. Shut the door, turn around. I was like, so, sit down. They're just like, she just kicked a general out of his office? Oh, okay, oh my God. And this is my fault. I fully acknowledge this is my fault because I knew that they were not on U.S. soil for more than like 7 days. And so I looked at the colonel and we talked for a little bit and I go, okay, well, I've got something for you. Now, this is where I was dumb. Anybody who has military, law enforcement, fire department, etc. experience, they understand why I was dumb. And because I said, I have something for you. And then I really quickly went to go reach for my bag that I brought in that was not a clear bag. It was a ladybug bag. It even had little antennae on it. And I start zipping or unzipping, irony, and I hear click, 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 and I go, sorry, I am an asshole. I am an asshole. I'm sorry. I should have known better. I'm sorry. And I took my foot to go to kick the bag over. I'm like, I apologize. I'm dumb. I'm sorry. And they were like, just open it slowly and say, okay. And then I moved so slowly that they were like, just open the bag. I was like, okie dokie. No problem. Yeah, because I got to have something. Here you go. And the colonel goes, what's that? And I go, it's the Bronze Star that was given wrongly when you denied him a Purple Heart. And so, here, Bronze Star and the commendation. Here. And he looks at it and he's just like, oh my god, oh, okay. Alright. And then he tried to do the, well, you know, don't. I appreciate you tried. Well, he was like 300 yards away, and, you know, yeah, you do not try to sugarcoat it for me, Colonel. He might be a general now, but just, I do appreciate you attempting, but this is not the time to make fluffies. There are times for fluffies. This is not the time for fluffy. This is the time where you accept this, because realistically, the Bronze Star should have never been given to him. And it was given. He didn't earn it. If he didn't earn a Purple Heart, he didn't earn a Bronze Star. I may not know any ribbons or medals other than the rainbow for graduating basic training and the Medal of Honor, but I know that a Bronze Star is higher ranking in the medals than the Purple Heart. And not denouncing it, either one, just reality. So this is the only, I cannot make up for them contacting you overseas as far as like BAMC and stuff like that, because they told me there was a congressional investigation. I'm like, and it had started in like, I think they said it started in like February, and I was like, I don't know why, but like, I would feel horrible if any of that had to do with, because I was going up the chain of command. Like I started at, you know, the medical hold unit, and so like, you know, I know you guys had enough going on over there. You didn't need to deal with all sorts of other stuff. Like I went up the chain of command and stuff like that. Like I was not, like I only recently contacted Senate and the White House, and then like my children got the memorial service, and that was, you know, and you know, this is, you know, here, like I didn't contact like the White House and Senator Cornyn until like, I think it was like April is when I contacted them, and then my children got the memorial service, and so I don't know, but like here, it's just like I know that they had enough to focus on. They didn't need to focus on anything other than what they were dealing with. And yes, part of being a soldier is being able to multitask. However, they did not need to deal with an investigation that had to do with stuff on U.S. soil. And for those guys who I cannot, like, I know that there were ones that lost their lives, and I do apologize for that. And I know there were ones who were injured, and I do apologize for that. But at the same time, I waited until it was the last minute to make sure that your guys and whatever other guys, they didn't have to worry about being investigated while already dealing with the enemy that's over there that they're dealing with, and deciphering what needs to be deciphered. And you yourself and all the other stuff, you guys didn't need that at that time. You needed to be able to just do your job, get in, get out, and done. And so, like, this is the only way I could figure how to fix it and repair it at the same time as best as I could. And he was just like, oh my God. And I was like, I know it's not much. It's not replacing your males and your females and your soldiers. But this is all I have. I know it's not much, and I know he didn't earn it. And you deserve it far more than somebody who wants to. But So at the end of that, all three of them, they stand up and I'm like, all right, well, you guys, thank you, you guys, and then, you guys stay safe and all this sort of stuff. And then go to the door, and on the other side is the dude's like, hey, surprise that you are right there. How you doing, Tuesday? Just so you know, I gave them that bronze star. I gave that, yeah, he didn't earn that bronze star, and he didn't earn that bronze star. So I gave it to them because they will know what to do with it correctly. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your office. You have a good one. Bye. And it wasn't to be disrespectful. It was not. It was not. I can see now how it might have been taken as such, but it was not in a disrespectful way. It was literally just, this is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And done. And guys, stateside and overseas very much understand exactly what I mean, where yes, there are points where congressional and senatorial and White House investigations are important. There's no denying that. But at the same time, going up the chain of command. So on that, I explained that to Grandpa Nichols. I told Susie Marie Nichols Lopez that I gave the Bronze Star back. She threw a temper tantrum. I told her I wanted the other Bronze Star to give back to the military. They refused to. Grandpa Nichols appreciated it. So did Tony. Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen threw a temper tantrum that when Grandpa Nichols died, and so on that, I'm gonna end this video broadcast because I